Hi, my name's Laurisa, and I'm from Ohio.
Awesome. So we're going to talk about postpartum today and how you've been thriving as a first-time mother. But I want to go to the beginning before you ever got pregnant and talk about the ways that you've unintentionally created a village and how that has contributed to a really positive postpartum experience. So can you start there before you ever got pregnant and what that kind of looked like for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like, well, to create a village, I feel like I had to create a village within myself. Like I had to show up for me and, find home. Because a village is, home within myself before I could ever really nurture and have real connections with, friends and family. Um, And unfortunately, I feel like most growth comes from, something traumatic or from grief. And mine was, my mom and my stepdad passed away in a car accident when I was 19. And that just kind of like punched me in the face in a really positive way of, okay, girl, you are going to go through it and you're going to come out figuring out who you are and how to be, like I could have easily just drowned in that grief. Um, but I didn't. And I found yoga. Honestly, yoga was a huge, huge, huge part of my life. Um, Breath and movement, being able to, just kind of move some of those emotions through and out of my body and intentionally sitting down to just kind of reflect on my life and, what the things that have happened, not necessarily to me, but for me, that's like a cliche saying. But, there's a lot of growth in all of that. Um, and yeah, I really just study of self has led me to find the village within me, has led me home to self. And through that, I've been able to nurture and communicate with those around me to really have flourishing relationships with the people that I love.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. And like going off of that, then when you did get pregnant, how did you go about like the people that you want to support you, the people you wanted at your birth? Because you had, a lot of people there. So what did that kind of look like?
Yeah, it looked like a lot of I'm kind of like an excited person. If I get an idea, I'm running with it. I'm running, I'm sprinting. But in terms of, like figuring out how I wanted my birth to look and who I wanted to be there, because it was, very sacred. I just sat on it and I kept it in my pocket and I just, was breathing through it when I would get excited and wanted to shout, from the rooftops about it or tell everybody that I wanted everyone to be there. I would just pocket it and just sit with it and not, meditation is different for everyone. And there are so many forms of meditation, but like, meditation is a flow state. So whether that is when you are washing dishes or, I don't know, folding clothes, and you're just allowing your mind to do and go wherever it wants to, like that is meditation. Like you have to get through all of those thoughts to come to like this sense of like stillness. And it's not being physically still, but like it's like peace in the mind. So I just allowed myself a lot of deep thought, journaling, talking out loud, to my partner and my friends to just kind of like clear my mind.
And how did you evaluate whether or not like someone would be a good fit to be there? Because we talk a lot about how like the energy someone brings into a room can really impact your environment. So
Mhm.
how did that look for you? How did you know?
Absolutely. I have done research into human design. Not a ton of research, but the really like the one takeaway from it, and I don't even know what it's called. It's how I answer questions, like how I know if something is a yes or no. And for me, it's in my stomach. And it kind of is like your intuition. But I would just kind of sit with somebody being there. And I, once you start practicing it more, you get an immediate answer. But at first, it took me a little while to like really hear what my body was saying. I was allowing my body to tell me the answer because that's how I operate. Um, and really, it just came down to safety. And safety for me was, do I feel safe to be 100% myself? If I start making, animal noises, or, maybe I want to make out with my partner to get some oxytocin flowing, like, will I feel safe to do that in front of whoever is going to be there?
That is
Or,
so.
or even feel safe to, say, hey, I need some space,
Mhm.
you know, safe.
That's such a important word. And that was a big word throughout your intentions too. So that makes a lot of sense. How were their reactions when you asked them to come in that like made you feel safe?
Yeah. So it was my two little sisters. They were really excited, really excited. And then one of my witchy soul sisters, I feel like she told me that she felt honored, and it was a really just amazing experience to have them. I had shared earlier that my witchy soul sister, she actually started a notebook and was just logging throughout, my labor, like, okay, it's 1:32 and you had a huge contraction, or just like writing the things that came to her mind, and like had both of my sisters write messages in it to me and to my daughter. And it was just so special. And like I just followed my intuition and my gut, and she confirmed and validated that I just made a really great choice to have her there.
That's the most special thing I've ever heard. So I love that she did that. Okay, let's fast forward. Your postpartum day, like the day after birth, what does it look like? How does your village show up for you?
Yes, everybody made hella food. My sisters, all three of them, they brought food. My mother-in-law, she made us lasagna and we froze it. She made us pot roast and we froze it. But the most, probably like the biggest thing that she did, my mother-in-law, she made those energy balls. They're
Hmm.
like oats with peanut butter, and like there's different flavors. She made us a big jar of those, and they just saved our lives because that it was so hot. And it's something that I was already thinking in my mind to do, like, oh, this is something easy that I can just whip up before a baby gets here. And she kind of just beat me to the punch. But yeah, the energy balls were amazing. We did have, honestly, quite a few people coming in and out of our house, wanting to see the baby. We were kind of strict. No one was allowed to hold the baby just yet. She's fresh out the womb. She's so small. Um, but yeah, we had a lot of people coming in and out, and just kind of let go of, oh, they're dishes in the sink. Like, what people say about like picking things up, like just release that, let it go, because it's such a priority to like really get some real rest, whether you're sleeping or not. But just like being able to just close your eyes and just be in stillness was super important. um yeah. And I don't want to be disingenuous. My partner and I, obviously, I had maternity leave, he had paternal leave, but we both work from home. So I guess that's playing more of a role in our lives now that, I'm off maternity leave. Um, but he's also a really great partner. And, I've been thinking, somebody said, I think I read it somewhere about being lucky, and about how the response was, girl, I'm not lucky. I was intentional. Like, I created the life that
Oh,
I
that was
have.
my that was my reel on Instagram. Yeah.
That was yours?
Yeah,
Oh
because
my God.
my cousin responded to me when I shared about picking the right partner, and she said she messaged me that she's like, I almost get triggered when people tell me I'm lucky because I was so intentional in choosing him.
That
Hmm.
was yours. That's
Yeah.
so cool because that has been sticking with me. I'm like, dang, like it's not luck. I intentionally like found myself to find my partner. Like it's so weird, even with having a daughter or a kid, you always have to put yourself first. You have to, because you cannot give from an empty cup, and I will die on that mountain.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, like, what have been your strategies as a couple now? You're off maternity leave. What were the strategies to prepare for that? What does that kind of look like for you guys as a dynamic?
Yeah, probably one of the biggest things is just, asking each other, checking in. How are you doing? Do you need anything? Stuff like that. And just, I'm breastfeeding, so I feel like, you know, I'm just with the baby more, I just it just is what it is. I'm sure like if he could breastfeed, he would. Um, but that for him looks like, he's changing more diapers or he's being extremely attentive when and I pride myself on being able to communicate my needs um kindly and respectfully because it's really easy to like get sassy and get a tone when you are feeling frustrated or when you're tired. Um, and it's also, good to understand, how does your partner react and respond to stress,
Hmm.
being able to identify that. Um, and at first, we're taking shifts. He would have baby girl downstairs during like 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. and I would be sleeping and then it would be my turn to get up. But then we're thinking back to like how we've been doing it and we just totally could have sooner just had her upstairs with us and we could have slept in bed and it would have been fine. But at the very beginning I had told you that I was trying to like rock her back to sleep upstairs in her bedroom in the dark.
Hmm.
And I could feel my mind like starting to like slip and spiral down. And I think like through all the self-reflection, I was able to notice that almost immediately and voice it and, be able to implement, okay, I need to do something different. And Jack was like, just bring her downstairs. Like when it's my shift, I just am with her in the living room. And that way I'm watching TV or I'm making myself some hot tea or, whatever. And just a tiny shift in mindset just really will save you.
Yeah, that is so important. That's like the key is trying something different. Like you can't
Yeah.
just keep doing the same thing expecting to feel different. You're not going to.
And then when you are doing something and it's working,
Oh,
forget it because the baby's gonna shift.
yeah,
She's
exactly.
gonna say, nope, we're done with this. We need to try something else on board.
Yeah, they're so dynamic. So it's like just getting into that flow with them.
Yeah.
And I think we talked about this before, joked about it. Like we're spiritual people, but we're like, I'm turning on something I want to watch that's mindless, that's just gonna make me laugh and like enjoy it. I think I
Yep.
talked a lot about my first postpartum and I like didn't enjoy it as much because I was focusing on healing. My second one, I just kind of let that all go and was like, let me just enjoy these moments because when else are you gonna do this again?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so let's go into sleep training. I really am so curious to hear about why you chose this, how it's worked for you. We're really honest with each other. I haven't been a big endorser of sleep training, but I only know the worst of the worst extreme. And I'm
Mhm.
a stay-at-home mother, so I never had to do this.
Yeah.
So, how was your experience? Because I think this can help a lot of mothers in your position, especially working mothers.
Yeah. So the first thing I'll say is I feel like sleep training is associated with letting your baby cry it out.
Yes, totally.
And that is definitely not what we've done. um so for us, our baby has, two different cries. One is like a fussy, just kind of yelling, like she's not really crying. And then the other one is she's crying, like she's actually, crying and you can tell. So probably the longest amount of time we have let her like fussy kind of cry, like yelling at us in baby form probably around 13 to 15 minutes. And that is after, so kind of what we've been doing. And this all started because after we did the shifts, I brought her upstairs and she was sleeping. She was actually sleeping in bed with both Jack and I in between like two pillows. And he eventually moved to a mat on the floor just because the bed was crowded. We have a queen, and I was basically just sleeping on my side in like high alert. Like a lot of people are very afraid. Like he was extremely afraid to like roll onto the baby, and you know, people should be. But for me, I'm just like, I'm very alert. I'm aware. I'm not going to roll onto my baby. Like I'm honestly barely sleeping. I have like mom superpower right now. But anyways, he ended up moving to the floor, and I'm kind of just like loving it, having the bed to myself, like my baby's next to me, like this is amazing. But then eventually I'm like, okay, you can't keep sleeping on the floor, like we have to do something. And so we tried her in her bassinet in our bedroom, and there was something about it. She just did not like her bassinet. So pretty early, we just started putting her in her crib. And Jack's cousin, actually, shout out Sarah. She has two kids and they have a bedtime. They sleep through the night. They wake up at the exact same time in the morning. They have 2 to 3 naps during the day. And we have just kind of like, we want that. And so, we got advice from her and she recommended a book to us. But basically, we try to wake up the same time every morning, no matter what, even if she had a horrible night. And ours is around 8 o'clock. And then her wake windows, and I believe that wake windows change. Hers are about 2 hours. And babies, apparently, this is what the books and the internet say, love routine. So every 2 hours, I can start to see her. She's yawning. And apparently, when babies are tired, their eyebrows get red. I had no idea that was a thing, but I've been noticing it and it's a thing. So just really following her cues. So for naps, in the swaddles saved our life. Because the babies have the Moro reflex where their arms will just fly up or their legs will
Hmm.
flail. Hers was so strong. So the swaddle really, really has helped her. And so, I feed and I put her up. What we have been doing up until maybe like 3 or 4 days ago has been like bouncing her and rocking her, falling asleep in our arms, and then like very swiftly putting her in her crib.
Hmm.
Now that she's a little older, I'm trying to put her into her crib while she's still kind of awake, um, and allowing her to like figure out how to fall asleep on her own. And it's going really well. But she's, 3 months and like 5 days at this point. Um, but so if, you rock them to sleep, put them in the crib, and they start crying, and if we could go back in time, we'd probably do it different, but we would pick her up and just rock her and sway her and love her, and, she'll fall asleep and put her back down. Now, on the really rough nights where she's just not having it, and I, was having a hard time, like, who wants their baby to cry? Like, nobody wants their baby to cry. But Jack, my partner, he just really gave me a great perspective. And he's like, she's a baby. She has a lot of energy. And the only thing that she can do right now is cry. Like, she has no other way to expend energy other than to just kind of fuss and cry. And again, like, there's the two different cries, her like fussy cry and her like actual, I'm crying, I'm sad, I'm crying. And so the fussiness was what was going on. She was just really resisting sleep. And that was like our first time of like literally like 13 minutes of allowing her this time. And this was probably when she was maybe like 8 or 9 weeks. She wasn't a newborn, and it worked. She just let out that energy and she went to sleep, and she
And are
slept
you
through
like
the
in
entire
the
night.
room when this happens, or do you leave the room?
So we leave the room. I do close the door. It is dark, and we have a monitor on her, so
Hmm.
I'm like watching.
Yeah.
um, and we are able to talk through it, but I don't think I mean,
Yeah.
maybe it's a little effective, but it's honestly, you really have to follow your intuition. Like sometimes I'm like, I'm not sticking to this routine. Like I can tell that she really needs me right now. I'm going up there. Maybe it's been a minute, maybe it's been five.
Yeah.
But we have been consistent in, this is our routine. We're gonna take a bath. We're gonna rub vitamin E on you, give you a baby massage. I'm gonna feed you, and then it's bedtime. And then, naps every 2 hours. We swaddle, we feed, and we put you down for a nap. Um, and we do have a sound machine in her room. She's been listening. First it was rain, but now it's brown noise. And actually, we just unlocked a couple days ago that she really enjoys listening to stories.
Oh, it's so
I
sweet.
know. I
Everything
know.
is sweet with them.
It really is. It really
Okay, so
is.
let's go to like a work day now. Like, what does this look like on a work day? How has this contributed to, your own flow of the day?
Yeah, absolutely. So my little sister will come over during the workday for a few hours and just be on baby duty. We both work from home. We do need to be in front of our computers. But honestly, the naps, she's good for a 2 hour nap and 1 to 2 45-minute naps.
Nice.
Huge game changer. That's probably been the number one positive for sleep training is to give us like a solid 2 hours in the day to do whatever. Maybe we're working, maybe it's the weekend and we just take showers and brush our teeth, or maybe we just rot and sit on our phones. Like whatever it is, a solid 2 hours just feels so good. And you're like wondering, what did I do with all of my time before I had my baby? Like I'm convinced I just wasted my life away because what the heck, 2 hours is a miracle. Um, but yeah, the 2 hours, the naps, the sleep training, it was really positive, and I feel like it has been really great for her too, to be independent. She loves her bedroom, which makes my mom heart so happy. I painted it and put the decorations up, and she likes to be independent and she likes to be in there. Um, but yeah, and I think that she's happier. I think that she's in a better mood because she has a consistent routine, that revolves around sleep in her life. I think it's good for her.
Good. I'm happy it's worked out for you. And
Thank
would you
you.
say that is like the most shocking thing stepping into motherhood is like time management, or what would you say was like the biggest surprise when you entered postpartum?
Yeah, I feel like I'm someone who I've always wanted to like wake up and be a morning person and like have routines because I know that I would thrive with them, but never like able to really implement like a solid, this is my routine, this is what I'm doing every day, mostly
Mhm.
because that sounds like so fucking boring to me, like just not my personality. Like I want difference every day. Um, but being able to show up for her and provide her a routine has felt really good for me.
Yeah, it's
But
motivating.
it has been shocking. It's been a little shocking. And then of course the sleep has been shocking. It's been shocking to like feel exhausted, but also feel energized, if that
Mhm.
makes sense.
The adrenaline is
Yeah.
crazy. It's
Yes.
so
Yes.
wild.
Yes.
And then just like talking about how you can't pour from an empty cup, what are ways, I know it's hard, like you're only 3 months postpartum, but what are ways that you try to like give yourself a little bit of grace or take care of yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I would recommend to any postpartum mother getting headphones.
Okay.
And at first, like I was just like, am I like purposely like disconnecting from her? Like, I don't like this. But in those stressful times, just being able to have like one AirPod in and like having a book in the background or listening to some music has really just like been, it just makes me sigh. Like
Mhm.
being able to have something has been and still is really helpful and healthy for me personally. Um what was the question?
I don't even remember. This was a
Um
typical
yeah.
discussion between me and you. But
I
you're actually,
yeah.
you're not the first mother that I've heard say that. Oh, I asked like,
Yeah.
what are ways that you take care of yourself? That's
Oh
why.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Headphones, electrolytes have been huge all during pregnancy and even still now. And apparently Jack found this out that like if you're not sweating, it's not good for you to be drinking electrolytes every day. But when you're breastfeeding, we're Gucci, still drinking electrolytes. And I can feel it like sometimes the second that she hits the nipple, I'm parched. Like I'm so thirsty. I need a drink immediately. Um, and I'm still taking my prenatals. I feel like that has been a huge help. There's three prenatals. I take two calciums. I take two of the DHA, and then I take the calcium has magnesium in it, and then a vitamin D, like stacked up. Um, and then meditation.
Yeah.
Always with the meditation, any kind of meditation, visualizing, um, and then probably the number one, gratitude.
Hmm. Yeah.
I feel like annoyingly grateful.
Annoying.
So,
Exactly.
yeah.
I'm grateful for this bed to sit on. I'm grateful for the
Yes.
ground to hold me.
Yes. Yeah. Annoyingly grateful for
Awesome.
everything. Like staring at your baby, just like being so freaking grateful for your baby.
And in terms of just your view on love, how do you feel like you're the difference in love? Do you feel that you love her differently than you've ever experienced a love before? Like, what's like kind of your take on that?
Oh, what a great question. I thought that I knew love. I thought that I knew, understood, and had this connection with the divine, with source, with the universe, with God, whatever it is that you call it. I really believed that I knew. And having now this child, this baby, my daughter, I feel like I had no idea about love. I feel like I was just completely clueless. And now, like, I really, and here I am saying it again. I feel like, wow, now I know love. But it's just so different. It's like this, it's a primal love.
Hmm.
It's I feel like in a positive way, I've been a selfish person, like I am going to put myself first because I want to give to people. I want to show kindness. I want to show gratitude. And again, like I can't do that properly unless I am giving to self.
Hmm.
Um, but it's just the love is what like pushes you to like you're not just getting through,
Hmm.
the trials and the hard times, like you are giving your all. Like, I want to be the best,
Hmm.
perfect mother, which
Hmm.
probably is not happening, but I'm intending to. Like, I'm moving forward with intention to give this baby everything in terms of, love and gratitude and just seeing her as a kind human in the world. That's like my goal. I want her to be kind and I want her to like show her neighbors love. And in
Hmm.
order to do that, like she's got to feel that from me.
Hmm. Oh, that's so beautiful. I
Mm,
think
thank
that's a
you.
good ending point. Is there anything else that you want to add or you gave a lot of tips? Is there any like last words you want to give?
Yeah, I feel like I didn't touch on journaling.
Oh yeah.
Your questions that you provided during our sessions before I gave birth. Actually, there was like three that really stood out. And one of them was, how do I experience the divine moving through me every day? That was
Mhm.
a really good one. Another one was, um, how do I love my body? How do I want my baby to feel about their body? And
Mhm.
how can I teach them this? Like the journaling, really, how connected do I feel to my higher self? And what rituals can I implement to deepen my connection? Like just thinking about these things before labor and birth and before postpartum were just crucial. They really have served me in a really positive way. And then exercise, of course, like, and this is way before pregnancy, like just walking or lifting or dancing or intentional stretch with breath, like whatever it is, like we are a human body, we're meat sack, like we got a lot going on. And I feel like, at least where I'm from, this physical activity and exercise wasn't properly taught to us. Like we
Mhm.
had gym class, but like why?
Like let's just run
Like
a mile on a random Monday.
yeah, let's just like do some sit-ups, but like okay, why?
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know?
Mhm.
I'm just looking over my notes, making sure I got everything. And I have prayer written on there, but prayer, looks
Speak
like a
to it.
lot
Yeah.
of things too. Gratitude, it can be singing, it can be meditation, it can be like prayer that you grew up thinking about.
Yeah, I think just like speaking to whatever your higher self looks like, speaking to whatever higher power, it's really important. And I think one thing that I try to teach now that I don't even know if I was teaching when I was working with you is like feeling worthy to ask for what you want, like
Yes.
feeling deserving that you can receive it. That's so important. And you're a creator of freaking life. Like you deserve it. And that's it.
Yep,
Bottom
period.
line.